This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Today is crunch day. Today is the day that Matt Cook can win the 2019 Logykal Classic Indycar Series. 200 laps of Homestead Miami Speedway is coming up for you on the iRacing Esports Network and on RaceSpot TV. I am Jack Stars. Alongside me is Randy Chenworth. Apologies for the late start, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone is now forming up down on pit lane, ready for the pace lap to take the green flag for 200 laps of racing here today, Randy. And a first for the Classic IndyCar Series, we're going to go into the night with a dusk race.
Yeah, it's been a new feature we've had on the sim for a while, and it's going to be great. A late start here. It is about 7 p.m. local time, 200 laps. It'll be well and truly into the darkness by the time we're done here today.
And well, as gridding is coming to a close, everyone is going to be setting off on the pace lap behind the Mustang pace car. We can take you down to your starting grid. Matt Cook right where he needs to be at the sharp end of the field with pole position from Randy Shoemake, his best qualifying of the season so far. Andrew Aitken going to be lining up in third position. Jamie Wilson with a good qualifying in fourth. Mike Gerlicher having a really strong day here today, fifth, and Josh Chin down in sixth. We'll go through what Josh needs to do to keep his championship hopes alive later on in the broadcast. Jonathan Diggs is going to be lining up seventh with Robert Gross 8th, Lucas Leon 9th, and Jan Hoffman down in 10th. Nate Michael and Andrew Adair Saunders is going to line up 11th and 12th. Sasha Lamp and Andre Delino 13th and 14th. Daniel Schulmeisser, Logan Simmons 15th and 16th. Joni Kynan 17th. Franz Josef Stumm 18th. In 19th position is going to be Caleb Weekly. 20th for Hans Pitkinen. And then the rest of the grid up on your screen. Ladies and gentlemen, there is only one man as all season long who has been showing us around the circuits for the Classic IndyCar Series, and that man is Josh Baird.
Welcome to Homestead Miami for the Iconic Graphics 300, brought to you by the Logykal Classic IndyCar Series. I am Josh Baird, and I will be giving you a track tour around the first day-to-night transition race for the Classic IndyCar Series. Turn 1 is a parabolic bank turn from 18 to 20 degrees to allow for multiple line use. Early on, we will go down to the apron for the fastest way through the turn while sliding up through the track a bit later as the stint goes on. Entering turn 3, we will enter a little later as this turn is a little tighter, and we want to place the car one groove above the apron during our apex. Due to parabolic banking, the car prefers the higher bank portion of the track. Expect a lot of action here. This has been a track tour of the Iconic Graphics 300. I hope you enjoy the race.
200 laps of racing is ahead of us, and for Matt Cook, this is the day that could mean everything for his 2019 campaign. The pace car is going to dive left onto the pit lane, and we're going to get going here at Homestead Miami Speedway. A clean start, unlike last year where everyone decided to go spinning. We're not even making the line before we hit the first caution, but everyone now line astern into turns 1 and 2. A little bit of jostling going on behind for the mid-pack. 3 wide I saw into turn 1 there, Randy. But we are racing at Homestead Miami Speedway for the third to last round of the 2019 season.
Yeah, these guys are going to be pushing it hard. You see side by side there in the middle of your screen with Andrew Aitken, I believe that is, with Joshua Chin. Josh getting his way up into third place. Been a good start for him. He started this race, I believe, in the sixth position and now been pulled away up in towards P3 and on the podium and trying to hunt down Randy Shoemake, who runs second.
And Randy Shoemaker, good qualifying from him, one of his best of the season, the best for a very long time. Josh Chin now hunting him down. He's up 3 positions. For Josh to keep his championship hopes alive today, he has to finish second place, and that is to take it to the next round at Laguna Seca. As we ride on board with Andrew Aitken, you can see the rev lights lighting up in this Dallara IRO5, Randy, as the sun starts to set here in Miami.
Yeah, the light's really bright, of course, right there in the driver's face. Can be one of the first things that these drivers in this championship have had to deal with. They may have ran under the lights in the past, but This is going to be one of those the first time, of course, Jack, that these guys are going to have to go into the darkness after starting. Granted, it's still relatively dark, so it's not like they're having to go from in the sunlight to into the darkness. It is, you know, not the track temperatures like you might see if we started, say, about an hour earlier, like we've seen in the E-National. But still, this track is going to change over the duration of this event, especially as those lights start kicking on, which is, well, it's already happened. And the sun will just need to wait to go down a little bit further as the field starts to get strung out.
And as they head themselves through 1 and 2 for the 5th time, Josh Chin still putting the pressure on. One driver that has had issues at the opening stages of this race, he qualified 4th. He's now got out for the count. He's rejoining the race now as Jamie Wilson. We know he's been having technical issues the last few days and clearly just been hit by them technical gremlins. Mike Gerlicher, he started 5th and he's running right down at the back of the pack, Randy. So for two drivers not having the greatest start to this race, but two drivers who probably aren't too worried about a championship, just want to go out there and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, Jamie's been having technical issues. He's actually had a CPU core that's died that we thought he maybe had come up with a fix, and it seems like just on the gridding stage, it's a consistent thing. Every single time he's on the grid, his PC just crashes and kicks him out of the sim. So, unfortunately for him, but he's going to go out there and try to somehow, some way make up a lap. But unfortunately, no lucky dog, no wave around in this championship. So, it's going to be a long day of being a single lap down. But I see somewhere around P10. They're 3 wide, heading into 3.
Yeah, I almost saw an accident happen. Logan Simmons came from 12th to go past Sasha Lamp and Andrew Adair Saunders. A very risky move, I'd say, in the number 75 machine going down the inside. He tracks up the track. Maybe shouldn't have done that. Almost caused contact between himself and Sasha Lamp, but Sasha Lamp was sensible enough to move up the track when he knew there was a space to get himself out of harm's way. But Logan Simmons now making his way forward, going to get himself up into 9th position going down the inside of Jonathan Diggs. Started 16th up to 9th now running. He's up 7 positions on where he started. Very strong opening race for Logan Simmons so far, but we know that he can be slightly inconsistent sometimes and struggle to keep it on the circuit.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. Like you said, it's going to be side by side, Logan Simmons and Daniel Schoolmeister as they work down the back straightaway for what's going to be the 9th time already. Laps are going to tick down quickly around this place here, Jack. It's only 200 laps per day. And if you're talking about Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which you're going to see here in a couple weeks or even from several weeks back, we'd be talking about a long event lasting something in the realm of probably close to 3 hours. Oh, we got a caution.
We have got a caution. That's because we've got a car around out of turn 4, and it is Sasha Lamp. Looks to be a single car incident. Snap oversteer by the looks of things, Randy. Put himself up into the outside wall. Andrew Adair Saunders collected in that one as well. Not much that Adair Saunders could have done. And we're on to our first caution of the race. Of course, as always with the Classic IndyCar Series, with these regular rounds, a 2-hour time limit. If we went green all the way, we'd be done in about an hour and a half. However, we've already lost that one. So first caution of the day. It's going to bunch all the field back together, and we can start to.
Yeah, that was definitely an interesting incident there that we had with Sasha Lamp. I mean, like you said, it was the snap oversteer that brought that car around. Not exactly sure what caused it. Homestead is one of these racetracks that is variably banked. You go from the bottom up to the top, it gets slightly and slightly steeper. It's hard to see with your eyes, but just trust me, when you get out there on one of these race cars, you can feel it. I almost wonder if maybe he just sort of rode in between a couple of the banking, you know, almost a border between inclinations, and maybe that's why that car kicked out on him. It doesn't look like he should have had a big bite with dirty air, unless, of course, he's already struggling with the handling of that race car, but doesn't seem like anyone's too keen on coming down pit road.
It looks as though we've got one car onto pit lane. That is Jan Hoffman in the 05 for Logical Vortex Sim Racing. So decide, Jan Hoffman's been the driver all year long that seems to be doing the alternate strategies along with Joni Kynan also on pit lane. So essentially the second half of the field seems to have pitted. The first half seems to have stayed out.
Yeah, that definitely seems to be the situation here. So Jan Hoffman will bring the car on pit road. The rest of the field going to go ahead and cruise out there and keep the track position. That's not a surprise. This is going to be one of the few races that we've seen this season that's almost guaranteed to be cool weather with it going into the darkness, Jack. So because of that, tire life and tire consistency should be really working with these guys over the course of this event. Likely not going to be something they have to really fight compared to what they may have had to do in the past.
We have seen the tyre life before drop off a cliff with these hotter weather races, but today that is not going to be a problem. And as always, this round of the Classic IndyCar Series is brought to you by Iconics Graphics. Iconics Graphics supports all of your personalized vinyl needs, including car wraps, decals, t-shirts, hats, and more. Whether you have a league like the Classic IndyCar Series that you want to create shirts for, or you want a decal for your team's logo on your desktop tower, Iconics Graphics can do it all. You can check them out on Instagram, search for iconics_graphics, or head over to their website, www.iconicsgraphics.com, for more details. If you mention the Classic IndyCar Series, you will receive a 10% discount. They'll also be giving out 4 shirts to the overall champion, the oval champion, the road champion, and the rookie of the year. League members can also purchase the gear by contacting them and mentioning that you want a Classic IndyCar Series hat, shirt, or decal. This race is the Iconics Graphics Indy 300 from Homestead, Miami, the third to last race of the 2019 Classic IndyCar Series, Randy, and that means we can now really start talking about the championship. Basically, Matt Cook, if he can get pole, most laps led, fastest lap, and the race win, he can win the championship today, as long as Josh Chin finishes third or lower.
Right, so he's already gotten one of those. That we know. We can track... Excuse me. We can track fastest lap as we go. Apologies, but it was a late wake-up call for me. Accidentally sleeping in a bit, and I'm still in the mode of getting woken up. But you can see the points there for Joshua Chin, 161 points clear of... Matt is of Joshua Chin. Absolutely enormous gap to work with. Right now, fastest lap held by Randy Shoemake, and I think what we're going to have to likely see happen here, Jack, is as this track cools down, as the sun gets a little bit lower into the below the horizon, which will be happening here shortly as lights go out on the iRacing safety car, the track's going to get cooler, lap times will come up. Matt, after he's led probably the majority of this race, if he wants to go for that today, if that's his goal, he's going to have to tuck, I think, into the traffic a little bit in order to get some slipstream and potentially be able to pick up the fastest lap that way. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it out there in clean air.
So, another thing that's interesting that I've just been reading through from the information that we always get from the league organizer, Robert Grosser, for the Classic IndyCar Series, is that if Josh Chin finishes P2 today, with the 1 bonus point for leading a lap, and then winning at Laguna, and maximum bonus points at Indy, and he's got to win at Indy as well, as long as Matt Cook doesn't even show up for those races, it will end in a tie. So I don't think mathematically that Josh Chin can win this championship.
Right. So, and then obviously Matt would win that tiebreaker, surely.
Yeah. Yeah, Matt wins the tiebreaker on number of wins.
So Josh can't win the championship.
No. He can tie with the championship, which would go to Matt anyway, as the very iRacing pace car is going to come down onto pit lane. We're going to get the green flag, go racing once again here at Homestead, Miami. Everyone back up to full racing speed. The V8s roar into life as they head themselves down into turn number 1, side by side at the front of the field. Joshua Chin getting himself into P number 2. So he is going to get himself into a position where he can start thinking about, well, he can't win the championship, so he's got to start thinking about where he can place himself to try and get a good finish here today. Andrew Aiken going to creep through as well, and Randy Shoemake. Randy Shoemake there, Randy, having a very slow restart.
Yeah, definitely not ideal, dropping from second down all the way down to third. So that's a horrible, or excuse me, to fourth. That's a horrible restart for Randy. And he's going to work through side by side behind them for P5. Robert Grosser, Lucas Seville, Logan Simmons, Daniel Schoolmeister, all 2 by 2 as they stream into 3 and 4.
And 2 by 2, they will go into 3 and 4 to the inside. Logan Simmons and Daniel Schoolmeister will go on the exit of the corner. The 2 Logykal Vortex Sim Racing cars going to be left high and dry. That's Robert Grosser and Lucas Seville into turn number 1. They will go. This is a good indication as to which line is working, whether the inside groove is better at the moment, whether that outside groove is just a little bit better as we head on to lap number 17 of 200.
Watch these guys fight on. We've not seen this track in IndyCar in real life in a long, long time, but it's one I personally welcome back. What do you got?
We've got a big crash and another yellow flag, another caution, and we have contact this time around. It's involving Nate Michael in the 15. And the driver of Andre Delino in the 51 coming through turn number 4. And it was a very large accident for Nate Michael. And he's put himself out of this race. And I think it may have taken Jamie Wilson out with it.
but we'll have to have a peek. Jamie Wilson, as we talked about, already having some technical issues and already well and down the order. Let's see what exactly happened here to the 15. See him off of turn 2. A little bit tight there with that driver down beneath it. Let's see what happens in turn 3 and 4. It looks like they have a coming together, and the 15 just gets up into the wall, and well, Jamie just seemed to have been running that third lane. We're right on board with Jamie. I want to see what it is exactly he saw. It seems like Jamie was just running up there in that third line and basically just got into that incident because of it.
Riding on board with Wilson now in the 87 Team Chimera machine. You can see the high line. Nate Michael goes ahead of him, and well, he tries to avoid, but he tries to avoid too late, I'd say there, Randy, and all of a sudden is involved in an accident. Pretty much day done for Jamie after his small problems earlier on today, as we see the leaders now deciding that they want to come down onto pit lane. This is because we are around a third of a way into a fuel stint, I'd say. In fact, most people coming down onto pit lane: Josh Baird, Jan Hoffman, Yoni Kyan, Carsten Brodvin, Johnny Garet. So the people who have already pitted, they're the only people who seem to have stayed out. Josh Baird actually hasn't pitted yet, Randy. So he's going to be out on the track on 20-lap-old tyres, but only half a tank of fuel.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's not... I don't think his horrendous call is off of pit road is going to come Matt Cook and Joshua Chin. Like I said, the tire life seems to be quite good at the moment. Just going to look at some of the drop-off from drivers who have stayed out, and they're kind of within a couple tenths of their best lap. Josh's best lap was a 25.706. That was over the 5th lap of the race. And in that quick little restart we just had, he did a 7.60. So lap times are still good. Lap times are still there. I don't hate this call from Josh Baird. If it's going to be able to get him out and clean it early and out near the front of the field, I think staying out could be a decent call.
So a full stint here with no draft. We're going to be looking about 55 laps on a tank of fuel, Randy, which means it is going to be 3 stops to get to the end of this race. So we're seeing drivers who have already come down get themselves a little bit off. Everyone's now a little bit off strategy with each other. We've sort of got 3 pitting groups, really. The guys who pitted first time around, we've then got the guys who have just pitted now on this second round of pit stops, and then Josh Baird sort of all out on his own. And if we now run green to the end, that could make a very interesting dynamic with pit stops, because they're all going to have to stop probably at least 3 more times, I'd say, because of just how early they pitted.
Well, if they can only do 55 laps, you're not going to save huge amounts of gas, fuel saving around this place. You might stretch to maybe 3. So 55, 110. Yeah, they're going to have to all pit at least 3 more times. So that's not really a concern at the moment. At this moment, you really just want to keep yourself in good track position. Coming down, I think, after 20 laps, I think is a fine number, a fine call for all these guys to more or less get new rubber underneath. But of course, the likes of Josh Baird and others that opted to stay out, I don't really hate it either with the sort of speed we've been seeing out of these cars. And right now it looks like we have top 5 who have stayed out: Baird, Hoffman, Kajan, Brody, Broadway, and Garrett.
So the top 5 have stayed out. 4 of those 5 have already pitted. Lights are still on the iRacing pace car, so we're going to go for another lap here of the Homestead Miami Speedway. Of course, Randy, a little bit talking about one of your series that you cover on a Tuesday night, the eNASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. Their finale, if I remember correctly, is going to be at this circuit in not too long, actually, as the iRacing lights on the iRacing pace car goes off. And Homestead Miami now is the spiritual end to a NASCAR season.
Well, this is the last year it's actually happening. After 2019 into 2020, it's going to ISM Speedway, or Phoenix International Speedway, as so many people likely know it. So it's Homestead's final year of closing out a NASCAR championship.
And many championships have been won or lost at this circuit. And it could happen here today, but in the Indycar world, as opposed to the NASCAR world. But of course, another 177 laps to play out here yet, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the classic IndyCar series, the iconic graphics Indy 300 from Homestead Miami Speedway on the iRacing Esports Network, brought to you by Race Spot TV. We just had our second caution if you've just tuned in. Everyone getting ready to go back to green flag racing, and Josh Baird will be bringing us around to the green flag. Watch out for Matt Cook, Josh Chin, Randy Shoemake, etc., working their way back through the pack towards the front of the field as the pace car dives left onto the pit lane. We're going to go back to racing here at Homestead, Miami, and a good jump from Josh Baird, and Jan Hoffman going to follow him as they head themselves down into turn 1. Josh Chin already looking to be getting himself around, or actually no, he's coming under pressure from Randy Shoemake. Matt Cook, a brilliant restart, already piling the pressure onto Johnny Garrett there, Randy.
Really put the pressure on here, but we said that if he wants to win the championship, Matt needs to get quickest lap of the race, and this could be a good window for him to do so. That said, he's going to be a lot quicker than this traffic. Look at that, he's already not even by Johnny Garrett, and he's already setting up Carson Broadway as they work themselves in towards 1 and 2. So Carson's through, Johnny Garrett's going to be the next one, passing one car and setting up the pass on the next one. Now he'll have the slipstream, but a little bit of clean track for about a lap's time, I think, will Matt Cook, as he will have the slipstream off the 77 Yomi Kajanen. Now can that Sis car maybe pack in quickest lap of the race while he's here in the slipstream?
And this is going to be where Matt Cook needs to get his head down, really try and get that fastest lap of the race. A 25.8 last time around. The fastest lap is a 25.517 set by Randy Shoemake in the very opening stages of this event. But with fresh tyres, this could be Matt Cook's best chance. He's going to tuck in behind the draft of Logykal and a very fast and capable Finn in the number 77 machine as they head themselves out of turn number 4. Carson Broadway's dropping down the field, but it doesn't look to be an incident. Yes, it is. He's off. We're going to stay green, though, ladies and gentlemen. He's had some contact with Johnny Garrett coming through turn number 4. 3 wide, in fact, coming through turn number 4. And a very unlucky incident there for Carson Broadway. He's kept it going. He's kept it off of the racing line, which means we are going to stay under green flag conditions here. Replay up on the screen.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Carson. That's going to see him out. Matt Cook is going to work his way past the 77 of Yomi Kajanen and get his way into 3rd.
Up into the 3rd position, so back onto the podium. As you can see, Carlson down on the inside of the racetrack. Another 9/10 of a second for Matt Cook to make up on the 2 leaders of Josh Baird and Jan Hoffman. Still that way, so Josh Baird going to get the bonus point for leading a lap. As Hans Pickman gets himself past Andre Delino for 15th position down in the mid-pack. But we're going to ride on board with the driver of Jan Hoffman. The 05 here, Randy, heading through 1 and 2, looking back towards Matt Cook. And that gap is coming down, but it's coming down very slowly.
Yeah, and it's going to 8/10 of a second right now. It's already come down a couple of tenths. It was about a second last time we went past start finish. Let's see if Matt Cook is able to reel it in off the corner. 8.85. Is it going to drop any more? Settled at about 0.88 the gap there. So it's coming down slightly, but not in huge amounts for these drivers. Your top 2 still able to sit out there and run clean as Randy Shoemake still holding on to the quickest lap of the race at 25.518.
Matt Cook can't get close to that 25.518 just because of the fact that Randy Shoemake had that draft when he set that lap, because they're running line astern at the very opening stages of this event. Looking back towards the battle for 9th position between Daniel Schulmees and Robert Grosser. Logan Simmons side by side for 10th as Logan Simmons goes down the inside of Robert Grosser through 1 and 2. Robert's got nothing he can defend from that one using that higher groove there, Randy. Logan really using that lower groove to his advantage, and down the inside he goes. Further ahead, side by side between Andrew Aitken and Johnny Garrett for 7th position. It's going to get a little wiggle from Johnny as they come off of turn number 4, and down into turn number 1 they will go. He's got slightly more speed. He's got the overspeed on Andrew Aitken, but he's got the inside line. And look for Logan Simmons coming in from behind in the 75. It looks as though he's going to start piling on the pressure for this one, along with Daniel Schulmeister as they go 2 wide, 2 deep.
Yeah, nearly considering 3 wide there was that 08 car of Daniel Schulmeister making the move, but not going to quite do it. And that's going to mean Johnny Garrett falls, and he's going to actually rise up into the outside wall. Big contact with that outside wall. That's going to likely see Johnny drop really far and potentially out of this race. That's mega damage to the right side of the vehicle.
That's terminal damage for the 68 by the looks of things. A very large hit as we ride on board. You can see he just came up. This is coming out of turn 2. We've got a yellow on the circuit for that accident, I believe, as we ride on board with Johnny now. Through turn 3. See as they come up the inside. There's the contact with the wall. And instantly he knows that that's terminal damage. We're back to caution here, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, going to be probably, I think, we'll see a good chunk of this field likely stay out. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the call is. Because we've seen, I think, split strategy every time cars have come down pit road, Jack.
We have, and we will have to wait to find out and see who is going to come down onto pit lane. By the looks of things, Josh Chin is going to be one of them. And Jan Hoffman is going to be the one so far that's come down onto the pit lane. So Shoes, Logykal are going to be following. So 3 drivers decided to come down to the pit lane, 4 in the form of Caleb Weekly. So it's once again a little bit of a split here, Randy. Some drivers have come down, some haven't. The majority staying out. We've got about 7 or 8 drivers deciding they want to have a visit to pit road.
Yeah, they definitely is the situation. Josh Shin coming down pit road is interesting. We know Josh tends to be one who can really hit the interesting fuel numbers, so the fuel numbers are there. If Josh is coming down pit road, that's probably a sign that you can go to the end from here.
And he's just missed his pit stall, which under caution conditions probably isn't going to cost him too much. But under full racing conditions, it is going to cost him a place, actually, because Jan Hoffman, he was ahead anyway, so of course it was going to cost him a place. But Josh Jim back out and away. Everyone seems to be doing 8-9 second pit stops in that round of stops, Randy, so not quite a full tank of fuel for one of these Indy cars, as everyone is going to be back out and away. We're going to step aside for just a couple of seconds here on RaceSpot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. We'll be back with continued coverage of the Iconics Graphics Indy 300. Don't go anywhere.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was always fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos or danger until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all will be kept in the pits. Not to mention that with members in over 130 countries already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series and work your way up to one of 7 world championships, offering over $500,000 in prize money. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com. ...163 laps remain at Homestead, Miami, as we complete our 3rd caution period of the evening so far. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Esports Network and to RaceSpot TV's coverage of the Iconics Graphics 300 in the 2019 Logykal Classic IndyCar Series. Jack Stiles and Randy Chenworth are going to be bringing you all the coverage here today as the pace car going to be diving off onto the pit lane, and Josh Baird once again going to be bringing us around to the green flag. Don't expect him to hold on to that lead for very long though. A good jump for the 23, but watch out for Matt Cook behind in the 6 because he's going to want to get himself back to the race lead as we're back under caution again. And has the, I think, the curse of 2018 Homestead Miami Classic IndyCar Series struck again? It has indeed.
What happened?
75 decided that as soon as he'd put his foot on the throttle, it could go left, not straight.
So we'll get a replay of this. It was Logan Simmons, and yeah, you're actually right. That's a big, big incident. A couple of cars getting involved there. Logan Simmons, and is that Schoolmeister that was involved?
I believe it may have been. I know there was another car directly involved. I'm not sure whether it was the car. It was the 08 of Daniel Schoolmeister, and he's lost a front end, and he's almost certainly going to have suspension damage from that. There was a third car involved, and that was Jonathan Diggs in the 45. So at least 3 cars who are going to have damage from that incident, and all of a sudden back under yellow.
Yeah, so unfortunate there for those guys, and because of that, we're going to get to cruise around for a few more minutes. Unfortunate, but yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes.
And well, I can't see anyone going to be coming down onto pit lane at this time. So we're going to step aside once again here on RaceSpot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. We'll be back when we're ready to go back to Green Flag Racing.
Once again, photo finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMeritt at the line.
Growing up as a kid in Oklahoma, where I'm from, the Chili Bowl is the biggest race that we have. The Chili Bowl has kind of been my favorite race of the year. Growing up a dirt racer in Oklahoma, that's kind of the holy grail.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the iRacing Esports Network and to Racebot TV's coverage of the Iconics Graphics Indy 300 from Homestead, Miami Speedway. The sun has now set and we are under the floodlights of the circuit. And as that has happened, Randy, the track temperature seems to be pretty stable. The heat is going to be retained in the track, as has been obviously a new feature into iRacing for the last of this season. Is that the track will regain a lot more of the energy, meaning that the track temperature has stayed pretty standard. The iRacing pace car is going to be diving left once again down onto the pit lane and will be brought round to the green flag once again by Mr. Josh Baird. And he accelerates and we're back to green at Homestead, and Matt Cook has got to go K-jump, but it wasn't amazing. It's not good enough to be on the tailpipe of the 23 to challenge for the race lead into turn 1. Everyone else pretty standard line to stern, a little bit of side-by-side going on behind between Logykal and Josh Chin. That's from 9th place down towards the rear end of the field. Randy, 16 cars left running, and we haven't even reached the 1 quarter stage yet. And Matt Cook down to the inside into turn 1 for the race leader. Can't see Josh Baird putting up any fight for this one, and he is. He's going to run the higher groove, try and hold on for it as long as he can, but he's on 45 lap old tyres. His tank of fuel is almost expired, but you can see that he is running on less fuel as he comes off of turn number 2, because you can see he's got slightly better run, less weight in the car. Means he can get the power down and get a little bit more speed out of that Dallara IR05. But as again, off of turn number 4 into 6th gear, Matt Cook will go, and he's looking down to the inside, but no opportunity going to be presented to him. He's going to sit there. This could be his opportunity, Randy, to get that fastest lap, because he's sat in the draft, but I don't think Josh Baird's got the tyre life to tow him round to give him that opportunity.
Yeah, and I don't think Josh has the speed either. Matt's a little bit too close, I think, to be able to pick that up. You see Matt falling back a little bit through the corners this time. Down the front straightaway, 4 cars all under a blanket. Baird, Cook, Shoemake, Aitken fighting for the race lead. Matt Cook going to stay single file, can't quite get there with the weight advantage for Josh Baird, really keeping Josh out ahead of this group. And Randy Shoemake, who currently holds the fastest lap of the race at a 25.477, he's just set that on this restart. So track is still quick, still good grip in it. You can find lap times, just Matt is not finding the availability to do so. Quick another lap around the racetrack. That lap's going to be a 25.720. I think if my eyes aren't deceiving me, nope, I take that back. It was a 7.26 last time for Matt Cook, but your top 4 all single filed out, no one really pushing it.
And that is how these guys are going to want it, because they know that also Josh Baird is going to be down onto the pit lane not in just a few moments' time. As it stands, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hit the 2-hour time limit, because next time around we are going to be hitting the 1 quarter distance, and while we've already expired nearly 37 minutes of this event. So Randy, the time limit for the first time this season starting to loom, and we have only got to lap 50.
There was another race, I'm trying to remember what it was, where we came very, very close to it. It may have been, did we run Milwaukee? It was one of those, I think, sort of short tracks. It became very, very relevant.
There was one, it was like 1 hour and 56 minutes, wasn't it? Is Matt Cook's going to be making a race move for the race leaders, and he's done it down to the inside through turn number 2. No competition from the driver of Josh Baird, and into the race lead, Matt Cook will go. Randy Shoemake now needs to follow, and pretty sharpish, otherwise Matt Cook is going to start breaking away. I think the tyres on the 23 are starting to go off here, maybe seeing a little bit of tyre degradation on a stint that have done a few heat cycles now, Randy, and really maybe starting to struggle.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that maybe the tire is starting to go, but of course we know Josh Baird likely not having the pace. He's typically not one of the drivers that really sticks up here near the head of the field, so to have him be struggling like this and maybe falling back, not the biggest of surprises. I think actually that time limit race may have been Iowa is what we had, so maybe a similar situation here, but as we know, I mean, if I recall, we were about 30 minutes out from the time limit in that race. with about 60 or, a big chunk of it left to go, but we just got a big long green flag run, and we're able to just squeeze it in. Same thing could happen here as Josh Shin has now dispatched of all the Vortex cars, but he's got a big Vortex line behind him who's going to be trying to get that position back. So right now we have the top 4 all lined up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have 5th through 8th all lined up, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Now, if Logykal Vortex Sim Racing had any sense, they would stick on the back of Josh Chin and let Josh actually tow them back up to this lead group. They're only about 1.5 seconds up the road, so it isn't a gap that they definitely can't track down. Josh Baird still holding on to that second position. Matt Cook actually hasn't got away from this pack, so they're still running line astern. The lap times are showing that they do sort of 25.7, so everyone very similar on the lap time. So clearly Josh Baird, that low fuel clearly playing into his hands. He hasn't quite got the pace to challenge for the lead again, but he is at least challenging. He's there. He's staying there, side by side between Jan Hoffman and Lucas Laville into turn number 3. Laville's just going to let him have it. You don't really want to hit your teammate. He is your biggest competitor, but that's the last person you want to hit. And actually, they've both had to get out of the throttle. They've lost about 0.5 seconds there, Randy, and dropped right off the back of Robert Gross and Josh Chin.
Yeah, Chin and Gross were side by side for a moment as well. So this group being pretty racy with one another, and you see how it's cost the likes of Hoffman and Laville having to breathe that throttle just a little bit. They've lost about 5 or 6 car lengths off the back of that second second in line, running car of Robert Gross. With your top 4, though, as you just said, also top under a blanket, Josh Baird actually doing really nice. I thought when he lost that race lead, or when he got into the dirty area, he was really going to struggle, but he's actually taking the fight back to Matt Cook in towards 3 and 4, but he's going to get it back line astern. But that 23, you qualified 22nd out of 23 cars that started this race, showing good pace here.
The only thing is, if we don't get a caution now for Josh Baird, he has to make a green flag pit stop, which essentially means that he's going to go a lap down with a green flag pit stop, potentially 2, just because of how fast the racing here is. And he could drop himself right to the back of the field. And if we get a caution, all of a sudden he is very much on the back foot. So a very risky strategy here from the 23. Of course, Josh Baird, the driver, bringing us all of our track guys. As I stuttered because I saw a problem for Josh Chin, and he had a very similar issue to Sasha Lamp, but he had a different solution to Sasha Lamp because he didn't find a wall there, Randy.
Yep, we'll watch this on board now with Joshua Chin, see exactly what plagued the driver of the number 93 Team Chimera car as we see through 3 and 4, and there it is, big batch of oversteer. He just able to cruise it down to the apron and hold on to it. Lets all those Vortex cars go, and he's going to settle back in line. But turn 3, turn 4 being a real trouble spot for these guys already. And are we sure that has Josh Baird actually not made a pit stop? Because it was that first phase of the race at around lap 11, that first kind of caution. Did he maybe come down around then?
No, my timing screens are telling me that he has not pitted. And I definitely haven't been out of the server, so it hasn't cycled itself and screwed itself over. So Josh Baird hasn't yet come down onto the pit lane. He has done 61 laps on this tank of fuel, and he's still going. That's got to be getting close to be running on fumes, because there's no way. We know that 55 laps without a draft and no caution is how far you can go on a tank of fuel. We have had a few cautions, so Josh Baird's been able to save some fuel. However, I would expect him to probably get to about lap 63, 64 and have to come down onto the pit lane.
Well, he's done about 17 laps under caution, so he's had the option, had the availability to save a bunch of fuel. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go another 4 or 5 laps here still, pushing the number 6 of Matt Cook is basically what Josh Baird is doing right now, all over the back of that 6 car as they work their way through 1 and 2 and down the back straightaway once again. Josh Baird going to be thinking maybe about pit road this time. I don't think so. Likely going to be a few more laps out, but still, he's going to set himself up for a nice little fuel window, I think, to work with here.
And it is a very interesting strategy that he has played out, and it is going to be one that could potentially get him a good finishing position, and it's going to be something that maybe some of the drivers are going to be going, damn, I wish we'd tried that. Is the driver of Johnny Goretz is on pit lane. He's actually rejoined the circuit. 2 seconds later, decided to go back into pit lane, so he's taken the tow.
He's 30 laps down. Remember his incident.
Yeah, He's 30 laps down though, so I believe that may be a glitch in my timing system. So for Johnny Garrett, he is out of this event as we head on to lap 65. Josh Baird still going, still tucked in behind Matt Cook. And I'm genuinely shocked. I'm not quite sure what to say at this because he has to pit at some point and he's going to go for another lap, so he's going to make it 66 at least.
Well, remember, we were saying 55 laps of green flag running. These guys have run nearly 20 laps of this event already under caution. When you cruise under caution, you can just throw it into the fuel save engine map. And when you do that, you just sip fuel. You basically, for every like caution lap, I think you say something in the realm of like 4 or 5 green flag laps of gas. So it's a huge amount of gas if Josh Baird was saving properly under the yellows that he could have built up in the bank and have to go. We have a car slow on the front straightaway. That is not the pace car. That is Franz Josef
34.
He's had a big incident somewhere. Let's see what's happened to the 34 car.
That looks to me, it's the same incident as we've had before at the final corner, but a big impact with the inside wall. He has kept it on the pit lane exit, which has kept us green so far, but he's going to be rejoining the circuit at a slow speed. It should keep us green here, ladies and gentlemen, so we shouldn't be going to another caution period. However much Josh Baird would probably want one right now. And down onto the pit lane, Franz Josef Sturm will go. Josh Baird is going to be finally coming down onto the pit lane, so 68 laps on that stint. Probably decided that the tyres maybe have fallen off a cliff. However, with this lower track temperature, I can't really see the tyres being the limiting factor here today.
Yeah, I think you're right, as he's got Stum in front of him who's going really slowly. I think that may have checked Josh up just a little bit, but going to be an interesting strategy for Josh if we go green to the end here, which the way people are struggling off of turn 4, I think would be a slight miracle. But if that is the case, he'll be setting himself up for about a 20-lap run. And as you can see, he's already gone one full lap down. Matt Cook, Randy Shoemaking Company have all just come by and put a lap on him.
And he's out and running, going to be rejoining the racing surface. Don't forget, he's also got himself back up to speed. Bearing in mind that Matt Cook is currently, you can see him on your screen, coming into turns number 3 and 4. We're looking at the battle for second position between Randy Shoemaker and Andrew Aitken. Out of turn number 4, they will go for the 69th time for these guys, or the 70th time now for these guys. Into turn number 1. Still line astern, no move from Andrew Aitken. Don't forget that 1, 2 and 3, Randy, they're all Aerox, so there's 3 teammates all running together, and actually having Randy Shoemaker and Andrew Aitken there, that's going to bolster the chances of Matt Cook of winning his championship here today.
Yeah, they're really going to make life easy for Matt here. Now, I don't know. I mean, obviously, we got that note, I believe, from Series Administrator.
Yep.
Question is, do they know the situation, or are they as well-versed in the point situation as everyone else is, especially as the series admin is? I'm not sure if that's been made public or not before the broadcast, but either way, they're probably not going to push Matt too hard, knowing he still has not yet wrapped this championship up. Now,
I have a question.
No.
Championship, is it possible that if Josh Chin has a bad day today, bearing in mind that he's currently down in 8th, Matt Cook could win it anyway without needing that bonus point?
I don't know.
I'm not quite sure. I think drop weeks might come into it. That is a possibility, but it's not confirmed.
Well, you said you had word from series admins. What exactly did they say?
If Matt Cook wins today with all available bonus points, the title is his. If Josh Chin finishes P2 and they're winning at Laguna and Indy at maximum bonus points, it will result in a tie. So essentially, Josh can't win the championship, but Matt can wrap it up here today. As Caleb Weekly has managed to get himself past Mike Gerlicher, that is
no, wait, but they didn't say anything about where Josh could finish.
No.
In order for Matt, well then, I don't know.
No, I don't either. I didn't. Well, we'll have to wait. We'll wait until the interviews after the race. I'm sure we'll be able to speak to Mr. Robert Grosser and Lucas Seville. They will be far more adversed on the situation than myself or Randy are.
Franz Josef Stum is back down on pit road in the 34.
He is indeed 7 laps down. He has done 1 lap gone out onto the circuit and come back in again, Randy. So I wonder whether still a little bit of damage to that car that hasn't been repaired, and he's just decided to call it a day. No, he hasn't. He's back out and away.
Pit stop practice.
Pit stop practice, and he's just stopped again and taken the tow. So I reckon that's pit stop practice.
Yeah, I'd reckon that's day done for him. We're now 75 laps into this race, and Fastable 77 laps as we are into this race, and fast approaching the halfway mark. As your top three have just basically blitzed away from the rest of the field. It's a 2.5 second gap right here from this man back to 4th place running Ian Hoffman. So AeroX right now just on another level.
They have got Homestead Miami down to a T. No one can get near them today. Not on lap times, as Randy Shoemake has the fastest lap of the race. And in fact, actually the 3 fastest laps of the race are all AeroX cars, all in the 25.5s. Randy Shoemake in the 25.4. Josh Chen has done a 25.5, but his fastest lap is 1/1000th slower than Matt Cook. So Matt Cook will take that crown off of him for being the second fastest driver out on circuit today. Andre Dolino in the 51 from the middle of the top 10 is down on to the pit lane for a scheduled stop after only 43 laps here, Randy. That seems a bit early, but then that could be a strategy call to try and just split up his stint a little bit more, make his pit stops that little bit shorter.
Yeah, it definitely could be a strategy call here, but right now it's just sort of everyone cruising around, I think, waiting to see what happens to the yellows. I don't think there's anyone that's in any like intricate or amazing fuel strategy advantage over anyone else that I can think of. I've not noticed anything for sure, but I think it's just a matter right now of everyone just cruising around and basically waiting to see when and where the next caution is going to be. That said, we've had so many cars drop out of this race. 23 started. We have only 11 on the lead lap. We have 5 cars that are 1 lap down, and after that 5th car that's 1 lap down, you jump to Franz Josef Stum, who's called it a race, and then you have who's 11 laps down now. Then you have Schoolmeister, 41 laps, Johnny Garrett. So you only have about half the field still out there and running. I think we're going to be green for a very, very long time here.
I would possibly agree, because not much action's going happening out on the track. We could start to see some green flag pit stops in not too long. Everyone who pitted in that second caution period 61 laps ago is now 61 laps into their second fuel stint. So we're going to be starting to see some drivers come down onto the pit lane. But they're going to see the guys who pitted.
See the last caution? Oh, never mind.
Yeah, it's when all the leaders pitted about 60 laps ago. So they're all going to be coming down onto pit lane in the not too distant future. We're also going to see the likes of Josh Chin, Yoni Khan and Jan Hoffman. They're going to be coming down onto pit lane in around 20 laps time, 15-20 laps time for those guys. Currently, Josh just completed his 48th lap of the stint. He's on his own, Randy, but we know he is the king of fuel saving.
Yeah, he definitely is. And the thing is, though, he is. Oh, actually, we're talking about pit stop. Randy Shoemake comes down on towards pit road. Happy little accident there. I click on him just as he's entering. So Shoemake comes down, and he's going to make his first green flag pit stop of the day. But it's going to be interesting to see what Josh is doing. Josh is about 3 tenths off what those AeroX cars are doing first, second, and of course now Shoemake just came down pit road, no longer in third. So the pace would maybe incline that Josh is running to a fuel number at the moment, but not 100% sure of that. We're going to have to wait and see when exactly he comes down pit road, and if maybe Josh has found a window. The window I would think he would try to hit would have to be lap 90. Which
would be 5 laps time.
Yeah, so you could go, if you can go 55 laps, you would go 90 to 145, and then you can go 145 to the end.
He's going to make that no problems at all. Josh Chen has already pitted twice, though, compared to some of the guys around him having only pitted once.
Matt's on pit road.
So Matt Cook, Andrew Aiken, Robert Grosser, Lucas Laville, Jonathan Diggs, they're all down onto the pit lane. Lucas Laville actually is exiting pit lane now. He has done his stop, the 12-second stop for the Flying Frenchman. And Matt Cook down into his box. Lovely hit from the jacks. He will go to a new set of tyres for the number 6, as you would expect. We have the 45 out in the way. That's the driver of Jonathan Diggs, as Josh Chin is going to come over the line and take the race lead. Jan Hoffman also out, and he's pitted this time, so he went a lap further than his Vortex Sim Racing teammates. And in fact, actually, no, I speak my own words. Jan Hoffman has only done 52 laps on that stint, Randy, so he's getting himself aligned on the same stint as all of his teammates by the looks of things.
Yeah, it seems that way. So Jan Hoffman does opt to come down pit road, going to be with the teammates. Now, that tells me he likely didn't have the fuel to go any further. Because, as Jan starts spinning on the pit exit, he's around and on the grass. He's cut it off the racetrack so it'll stay green, but that's going to be a killer for Jan Hoffman.
And that essentially loses Jan Hoffman 10-15 seconds, and around here that is a lifetime. Replay up on your screen, ladies and gentlemen, riding on board with the 05. You can see the pit limiters on. Down off the jacks he will go, rev that engine, and away he goes. Make sure you don't spin it off the exit of pit lane. Pit limiter's going to come off, and it's going to be... It is. He just lost it in first gear. Very easy to do in these cars, but he did keep that off the racing line, which would have caused most likely a caution and most definitely a very large accident.
I think he just got into the wall as well, re-entering pit road. He may have had an unsafe pit exit penalty when he did that spin, because of course he went up on the grass and I think was momentarily on the asphalt. Oh, and he did have contact with that wall on the right-hand side, so things go from bad to worse for Mr. Jan Hoffman. Now, here's the question. How long is Josh Chin going to go? Working lap 90, we know he may have found a pit window that no one else has really been able to hit. Actually, Hans Pitskanen seems to be in a very similar situation. Andrew Adair Saunders as well. They may have gotten themselves into the same strategy window, but how long is Josh going to run on this fuel? Of course, every lap he goes now is sort of a bonus lap, on a lap he doesn't have to worry about later on in the race.
That is exactly right. The shorter that last pit stop can be, the better. He's got a 10-second advantage over Hans Pitkanen, 12 over Andrew Adair Saunders. So for Josh Chin, he's just got to worry about himself as he heads on to lap 57 of this stint. He has run a couple of cautions as well, so we expect him to get towards that lap 60 mark. I reckon he's going to be pinning about the halfway stage here, Randy, bringing himself down onto pit lane. But of course, now he is in that window, as you say, to get to the end on 2 more stops.
Yeah, so that's going to be the thing to really talk about. Well, and it's not just 2 more stops, because the thing to keep in mind is that it's going to be this stop and then 1 more, which of course, yes, that is 2. But we've just seen everyone else come down pit road. They're essentially having to do 3. So it's looking like Josh is going to have to cut out 1 stop. When he eventually comes down pit road, he'll have 1 more to go. Everyone's going to have at least 1 more full stop and then possibly a splash and dash.
Unless we get cautions, which of course we have seen a few of today, I reckon everyone who's already pitted so far in this pit window will have to make a splash and dash for the likes of the 3 drivers still out on the racing surface. That is not going to be the case. Down onto pit lane, Josh Chin will go on lap number 94. So he's in the pit window by 4 laps. We know he can go 60 lap stint that for Mr. Chin. And he's going to hit his mark on the pit lane down to 80 kilometers an hour.
Of course, that sort of stint started when he was under caution, so don't think he can do an entire 60-lap run on the under green flag on a tank of fuel. That definitely would have been assisted by the yellows here, but I wouldn't be surprised. Josh is likely going to fill this sucker up all the way to the brim. I'm expecting nearly an 11-second pit stop here for Joshua Chin. Out to 6, 7, 8, waiting. 10.4, close enough. And he's going to get out and he's going to roll away. About a 35-second trip through the pit lane, 34.2. He'll drop well down the order, but he's going to have the fuel advantage. That said, Hans Pitkanen and Andrew Adair Saunders, they stay out. So able to run a little bit deeper on the fuel strategy for these guys. And it looks like Hans is going to be coming down pit road this time. And Saunders is going to follow suit pretty quickly as well.
Well, Andrew Adair Saunders currently on his 56th lap of that stint, and Hans Pitkanen was able to do 62 laps on that last one. So across the line, Andrew Adair Saunders is going to come to lead a lap of the Classic IndyCar Series. And I'm not quite sure that's ever happened before, so congratulations, Andrew. Good effort from yourself as Hans Pitkanen comes down on to the lane to make his 4th stop of the event. After 62 laps, Andrew Adair Saunders staying out for 1 more here, Randy.
So yeah, getting good fuel economy here is the number 12 as we approach halfway. Let's see if he can stay out once again and maybe make it to halfway, just for that'd be a fun little accolade.
That would be 2 more laps for Andrew Adair Saunders to make it to the halfway stage on this tanker field. And you know what? I think he might just do it as he comes across the line to start lap number 99, 102 laps to go. Actually, Randy,
Do we need to start cheering? 100, 100, 100.
I think by some stroke of miracle, we're going to hit the 100th lap before the 1 hour mark. As actually, Andrew Adair Saunders is going to be coming down onto pit lane this time, so he's not going to quite make the 100 lap mark, and that is going to give the race lead back to the driver of Matt Cook. So Andrew Adair Saunders, his stint at the front of the field is done. 101 laps remaining in this race. We are indeed going to hit the 1 hour mark after we've hit the halfway stage in the race. We're back on track for hitting that 200 lap point, Randy, as long as we don't get any more cautions and have a nice long green flag period.
I don't know if it's professional or not for me to be booing drivers that are out there on the racetrack, but I wanted to see him hit lap 100 really bad. But this is going to give Matt back at the race lead, and we're about to get cross flags here. 100 down, 100 to go, and really the last handful of laps we've had have screamed by compared to the last 50 laps have screamed by compared to, say, the previous 50 laps with all the cautions. They were all stacked up in the first quarter of the race. We've been green since lap number, it is 43 now, so 57 laps under green. Probably only took about 15 to 20 minutes, so it really took us about 35 to 40 minutes to get through that first chunk of the race. As these guys now start working through and probably start considering fuel strategy. Sure, all these guys, the likes of Cook, Shoemake, Aitken, even the Vortex guys, they've likely seen Josh go long, and they're trying to figure out if there's any way they can make this next 100 lap or so window that they're going to have to deal with on 1 tank of fuel.
And now everything is going to start getting a little bit more interesting as we head into this second half of the race. You're watching the Iconics Graphics Indy 300 from Homestead Miami Speedway, the third to last round of the 2019 Logykal Classic Indycar Series, brought to you by Logykal Innovative Engineering and Iconics Graphics. Of course, all the other partners that we see throughout the year in the Classic IndyCar Series. Jack Stiles and Randy Chenworth can be bringing you the last 97 laps of action here from the Homestead Miami Speedway. And this circuit now under full darkness, Randy. We're under the spotlights, and Matt Cook leads the race.
Yeah, and his teammates run second or third. They're still close to each other. Remember, this is a 3-car train before the green flag pit stops, and Matt's just made up like 2 seconds over his teammates through the pit stop cycle. His teammates second and third they're still on top of each other, but let's be real here, Jack. There's not going to be a challenge between these two either, is there? They're just going to sit there and they're just going to log laps until the next time they come down pit road, which I think by our calculations probably going to be around lap 130, maybe 140.
I would say so. Matt Cook's now 20 laps into his stint, so I would say that he's going to be coming down onto the lane about 135, 140 into this one. So for Matt Cook, it's not quite enough to get himself to the end of the race on 1 more tank of fuel. I think there is going to be a splash and dash, and the splash and dash might not sound bad, but when you've got to spend 20 seconds doing 80 kilometers an hour when everyone else is doing 330, Randy, that is a big disadvantage. And when your advantage over Josh Chin is only 15 seconds, that could gift the race win to Josh Chin.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that one. It's going to be a big ask, I think, for if this race goes green for Matt and any of these other guys to somehow hold on to it. It's really driving the race, I think, to lose at this point, which, that sounds like a sure thing, but we've heard that so many times this season, and every time we've said that, it seems like Josh has found a way to lose the race.
Yeah, Josh Chin this year, he's been very, very fast, but actually consistently being fast, he's struggled with. He's had a few incidents at almost every race this year, I'd say, Randy. He's used all 3 of his drop weeks in this year's season, which is why he is going to be, why today is crunch day for the championship, basically. He cannot afford another bad day. And currently running down in 8th position at number 93, doesn't seem to have the pace it needs to keep up with these guys at the front.
Yeah, it just seems to be the way it is. I mean, thinking about through the entire schedule, it's just been bad situation for him all season long. Started at Interlagos. He's in a position to win that race. Took himself out of it. Motegi was on the short side of luck. I don't think he really had the pace either. Barber Motorsport Park, he was quick, but he made a mistake. Got taken out of the race. Texas, I honestly don't remember what happened. Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course, I think he might have won. I think he won Texas as well.
At Texas he won. Indianapolis was won by Matt Cook because I think he put it in the gravel. Josh won.
Yeah, you're right.
Josh won Detroit. So the one race where he was probably going to put it in a wall, he didn't put it in a wall. He had problems at Iowa. Problems at Pocono really was just a cluster in the last 40 laps, which led to a surprise win by Lucas. Gateway he had problems. Road America he had problems, and Mid Ohio he had problems.
To quote NASCAR commentators, this entire championship for Josh has just been a problem.
And for a driver of Josh's pedigree, of course, he won the iRacing Indianapolis 500 last year. That's not something you'd think would ever happen. Then when you think about it, it's a slightly different car to what they use in those official races. And for Josh Chin, he has now got to just get his head down, concentrate on what he's doing, make his fuel numbers, because this has still got 89 laps to go here, Randy. And it's not over until that checkered flag flies. We've seen that at Pocono. I think we're going to see it here again today.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be the situation, even though this race has gotten in kind of a lull. It's definitely turned into a slow burner. Everyone kind of just making laps. You see this pack, it seems close, and the second Vortex car you see in line is fighting with that white and blue car. That's Josh Baird. The Vortex car you see going down to the bottom, that's actually Jan Hoffman, who's a lap or two, if not more, behind all these. Yeah, he's 2 laps down on this trio, and he's going to go by. But Robert Grosser is still going to be in that 5th spot behind, and now harassing Josh Baird side by side. First fight we've seen between non-teammates here in a while.
And this is going to be an interesting one to watch. The battle for... This is going to be Josh Baird. This is the battle for 4th and 5th. So, the driver of Josh Baird is keeping the outside line going into turn number 1. Robert Grosser on the inside. We've seen the inside maybe be a little bit more prolific throughout this race. A little bit more an advantage, but Josh Baird going to hold that high line. It seems to be working so far. So the 23 got himself back up towards the front of the pack. He's doing a brilliant job here today, Randy. He is off cycle with the pit stops though, so it's going to be interesting to see where he finishes off come the end of this race, because he's going to have to start thinking about pitting in about 10-15 laps time. Down to the inside, Robert Grosser will go into turn number 1 for the 116th time, but all of a sudden it looks as though Robert may have a chance coming off of turn number 2.
He's trying to get something to happen here. Here's Robert. Good speed down the back straightaway, but well, not good enough. That upper groove has just been really, really good today for drivers as Josh pushes up the racetrack. I think he got a little tight there. Seemed like he had to chase that race car a little bit, but still able to maintain speed. It's one of the interesting things about this racetrack, just with the way the corners are banked and the way you kind of drop off the banking. And it's a little bit more of a quick run off the banking because of that. You can kind of hold the car up on the racetrack a little bit longer. It's kind of a weird racing line you take around this place. When you see the line that gets run compared to what you might expect. And because of that, it does oftentimes just shoot you right up towards that outside wall is where you want to go to log quick laps. But we should be seeing, people are short on pit stops and short on fuel here, Jack. Pit stops probably in about the next 10 to 15 laps for those cars that cannot make it to the end.
And for those cars, this is going to be the interesting point. Of course, we keep saying fuel, 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 but it really does matter around here just because of how quick these laps are. We're going to keep saying it all the way through. Josh Chin has got himself up in 7th position. He's got himself past the driver Andre Delino in the 51. And now Delino is going to be sitting on his tail here, Randy, but not going to be able to put a challenge on for that 7th position. I think Josh Chin might be able to just pull away with this one.
Yeah, it seems to be the situation here. As we'll take another look at the AeroX teammates. They're still pretty tight to one another, just cruising. Now the question we have to have here, though, we've been talking about fuel, 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 fuel. How in the world is Matt Cook going to steal the fastest lap of this motor race away from his teammate? Because let's see, what is Matt's quickest lap of the race? Because the fastest lap of the race is a 4.77.
Which
Matt's
is
only done a
Randy
5.59.
Shoemake. So Randy Shoemake's done a 25.476 according to my time screen.
So the
Yeah.
set should have the speed in it.
So the setups does have the speed. That's been shown because the top three are all the same team. However, at the moment, Matt Cook doesn't have the draft, and I know Randy Shoemake did that in a draft because there's no way he'd do that time in clean air. I mean, you're getting on for nearly quali pace here. That time would have put you 4th on the grid. 5th on the grid, actually, I think. 5th, 6th on the grid, so it would have been quite comfortably in the top 10 that time that they're doing a race pace, let alone quali pace. So actually, for Matt Cook, he does need to get a draft and start thinking about getting this bonus point because he's pretty solidified in the lead. He's got 3.3 second lead as it stands. He's got a point for lap led. He just needs that bonus point for fastest lap.
Yeah, and I think he's likely got most laps led as well, pretty much in the bag the way things are going. Because we've only had, who else led a handful of laps? We had Josh Baird, who led some. There's another driver who led for a bit as well during that pit stop cycle. Who was it? Josh. It was Josh.
So people have got that bonus point for that leading a lap. As you say, it was Josh Ginn, Josh Baird, Matt Cook, Andrew Nessons, and the 4 off the top of my head that I can think of who have got it. So for Matt Cook, he's already got that one. He's just got one more that he has to wrap up. And as it stands, he may just struggle to do it because he's got to find someone with a pace who can tow him round, essentially, for the number of laps that he needs to do. As we have battling for, that is indeed battling. That's not battling. That is going to be Robert Grosser and Jan Hoffman going around together. Josh Baird is down onto the pit lane for his 3rd stop of the race. Randy, 56 lap completed this time on the full green flag conditions. This is actually the first stint that we've had under full green flag where we have an idea as to where people are with the fuel as Josh Baird misses his pit stall.
So yeah, that's going to be unfortunate for Mr. Josh Baird. Just going to add an extra little bit of time to the pit stop and likely going to drop him down the order because of it. So now, just watching these guys and saying, when are they going to end up coming down and on towards pit road for their final stop of the, or excuse me, possibly final stop of the race. Right now we think it's Josh Chin. He's the only one really in the window to make it the final stop of the race. But everyone else is going to be really, really tight, really close. And, you know, is there going to be some sort of fuel saving, fuel strategy at play that might help one of these drivers? I don't know. Be interesting to see. We've been seeing the likes of Shoemake and Aiken. They've been nose to tail for the entirety. Well, I say entirety, that's really recently just spread out. But I wonder if these two were saving gas for a while and have maybe somehow, some way, been able to save and stretch in a couple extra laps of fuel. Again, 145 is about going to be the target. Maybe 144 if you can make 56.
We've already seen one driver make 56, and that was Josh Baird, but I know that he did have a draft for some of that stint. So he was able to save just a little bit of fuel over the course of that 56 laps. But I think you are right, Randy. The target that these guys want to hit is going to be that magic 145, and that is only 16 laps away. So we are closing in on that window for that final pit stop where everyone can get to the end of the race on green flag running on 1 tank of fuel. Drivers who I don't think are going to make that, almost certainly everyone in the top 5.
Yeah, it's right now, it really is looking like this man right here is the only one that's going to be in that window is Joshua Chin, just based on when he made his previous pit stop. See him down the back straightaway. Hasn't really stretched a big margin over Andre Dolino. Andre's done very, very well here to keep this gap in a decent place here in the 51. He's not let Josh really stretch away from him. So the Dragon Racing AV car, number 51, doing very, very well, I think, just pace-wise, because he's really in the same window as everyone. Likes of Josh and Andre doing 26.1s last trip around the racetrack. Race leader is doing a 26.0, 26.1 from Shoemake. Everyone in your top 7 basically running identical times at this point.
And there's no fluctuation in the gaps between everyone, which means that everyone's pretty solidified where they are. Ronnie Shoemake and Andrew Aiken, they're running around Lana Stern, and that gap hasn't actually extended. It's like they're towing each other around almost on a rope. Same between Josh Chin and Andre Delino. Josh Baird has got himself past Joni Kainen down for 13th position, but of course Josh Baird is going to be out on those fresh tyres. Joni Kainen, in fact, actually just coming out of the pit lane, so that's why Josh Baird's just got out, or just got around him. So Kainen in the 77 is out and away. He is going to have to make one more stop for sure to get to the end of this race.
Yeah, there's no way he can go 68 laps. That's not even a question. But now it's just sort of waiting time. When are these guys going to come down and hit pit road? Let's just recollect. When was the last time we saw these cars down on pit road? It was lap number 83, it looks like, was the in lap for the likes of Randy Shoemake. I think Matt Cook likely did the same. We'll just confirm here. And no, he actually Matt was able to go a little bit longer at lap 85, so that's going to put about lap 140 for Matt Cook, and then probably about 138 for the likes of Randy Shoemake. I think Andrew Aitken came down with his teammate as well, and he came down with Matt, so it was actually Shoemake who came down early, the other two going an extra couple laps. So 140 is what we're going to expect for a race leader in the car running in third, car running second. I think we'll see him down in about 3 laps.
And that is going to be the first of our pit stops. So for Randy Shoemake, he's going to be about 7 laps off that mark that he needs to hit, which means that he's going to have to splash and dash. And in fact, he's down onto the pit lane this time. So after 52 laps, Randy Shoemake is going to cough, which means he's 10 laps short. So unless we get a number of cautions, he is not going to be able to get to the end of the motor race on this tank of fuel. Matt Cook and Andrew Aitken, they still carry on.
Yep, you see Matt Cook caught up in some lap traffic right now, a little bit awkward as he is coming off of turn 2, and let's see, still not opening a nice little bit of room for there. That's Caleb Weekly that Matt Cook has gotten trapped behind. He's just going to work the slipstream at the moment. Is Matt, I think, likely knowing that his fuel window is coming up soon here. Now, here's what's going to be interesting, though, is that if Matt has been able to save any amount of fuel, he'll likely be able to stretch to maybe 141, maybe 142, but he has not had a slipstream the entire stint for the vast majority of it. He's had a couple hints here and there where he has some slipstream dealing with some lap traffic, but he's not just had a car parked out in front of him for the entirety of the stint. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't think it's going to be likely, but can he stretch an extra lap, an extra 2 out of this? If he does, he's going to be right on the cusp. It'll be a big ask, but I think he'd be right on the cusp of potentially being able to stretch that into the final stint as well and somehow making it on that one stop.
It is going to be potentially possible for Matt Cook. He's now approaching the mark where he needs to start thinking about pitting. He's done 53 laps on this stint of fuel, and it's now getting very close. Randy Shoemaker's also coughed to come down onto the pit lane, and he is back out of the way, getting himself past Hans Pitkin for 7th position. Matt Cook stays out for one more, so he's going to go for 55 laps on this stint. Now is the question of how dry is that fuel tank? Is it enough to get him close enough to make this mark? Is it enough for him to make it on one more stop? If it isn't, Josh Chin is still 18 seconds behind. It could be close coming off of the pit lane as to whether Josh Chin is able to get the jump by just running that second stint much, much longer.
Yeah, so Matt Cook, lap 140, this is where I kind of assume he hasn't come down pit road just yet. So let's see, when is Matt going to hit it? Is he going to be able to open up these next couple laps? I think if he goes by the pit road entry again this time, he has saved the fuel and able to stretch an extra couple of laps. Does he look keen on coming down pit entry this time? Answer seems to be no, so it's going to be lap 142 likely for Matt Cook at the absolute earliest. If he can hit 143, this is going to be a close one.
Across the line, starting lap number 142. Eyes still on your race leader. Into turn number 1. He's staying left. This is an indication that potentially he could be coming down onto the pit lane. He's not following in the tracks. He's going to pit at 142. 58 laps to the end of the race as Robert Gross is also down onto the pit lane. So for Matt Cook, now he has to run a 58 lap fuel stint. And I don't think he's going to be able to.
Bit of a bite of oversteer there for him. Now eyes shift over to this man, Joshua Chin. Can he maybe push over that 145 mark to go 55 laps? Because here's the thing, we know that he can make it, but he might have to sit gas just a little bit more if it's exactly 55 laps. If he can get that final stint down to 54, 53, maybe even 52 laps, Josh will be able to get out there and not save whatsoever to the end stint of the race. And that'll be a huge advantage for him.
Not well as Matt Cook is out and away in 11.8 seconds. Josh Chin back into the race lead. I don't think, in fact, actually, this could be an interesting turn of events. Randy Shoemake's going to get himself past Matt Cook. So all of a sudden, Randy Shoemake is in the effective race lead.
Yeah, Matt had a bit of a wiggle entering pit road when he was trying to get that car slowed down and right to the speed cone and commitment cone. He just got a big bite of oversteer and I think lost him some time. 145 is the lap now. Joshua Chin is starting. So 55 laps from here, well 56 laps, excuse me, from here. And we'll actually turn this over to the laps to go graphic so it's a little bit easier for you guys to notice. Again, 55 laps is the expected fuel economy of these cars without super saving. You can likely stretch an extra lap or two depending on the draft, and Josh is in that window from here.
So Josh Chin now in the window to get home safe on one more stop. Everyone else isn't, apart from Hans Pitkanen and Andrew Adair Saunders, possibly also Caleb Weekly down in 9th position. So, for the driver of Josh Chin, all of a sudden, he's looking at a potential race win, not on pace, but on strategy, on fuel saving. This isn't the first time we've seen him do it. This won't be the last. 55 laps to go, 54 laps to go now as he crosses the line.
Yeah, so every lap Josh goes here is just a lap in the bank. Not going to look at it at the entry to pit road yet. He's going to stay out. Going to work in towards 3 and 4. Going to see 53 laps to go this time. He's just tucked behind a bit of lap traffic. He's just going to save some extra bits of gas if that's what he wants to do. Through 1 and 2 now. You see he's just following in the tracks of that car in front of him, trying to get slipstream, trying to keep slipstream off of turn 2. Does he turn it off the blue wall? It looks like he might be. Pit entry for Josh Chin this time. He'll have 52 to go when he comes off pit road.
So for Josh Chin, it's going to be a full tank of fuel.
Oh no!
No, it's happened again. And he's going to keep it going. So we might cause, we might have a caution here, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That is the chance at Josh Chin's race over. He almost had it, but a mistake on pit entry has cost him. Replay up on your screen.
That's, wow. In a season that's seen Josh make so many uncharacteristic mistakes. He just got a little bite of oversteer. It's not that he pushed too fast. And initially looking for the TV cameras, it looked like he was just, too keen and entered the pit road too fast. We'll watch it again. You can listen, you can hear the car. He's not on the throttle. It's just that right rear, one of those rear tires just loses a little bit of grip, if not both of them. Loses out on the grip and it just steps out. He saves it and that just pushes him out into the grass. And the moment that happens and you get those right side tires onto that grass, there's absolutely no grip out there whatsoever, and there's not much he can do. Able to hold on to the spin, and then it just ends up looping around on him again. But that's, I don't know, maybe he can somehow hold off here? How many laps down is he? Right now he's working lap 149. Leader lap, Randy Shoemake is on lap 151. He's lost so much time. I think probably at least 10 to 15 seconds, which is borderline half a lap.
So, Josh Chin is 31 seconds down on Randy Shoemake, the race leader. Last time, for a full pit stop, Randy Shoemake spent 31 seconds on the pit lane.
Say that again, I'm sorry?
So the gap between Josh Chin and Randy Shoemake is 31 seconds.
Okay.
So just over a lap. Last round of pit stops, Randy Shoemake spent 31 seconds on pit lane. And that was for a full pit stop. Matt Cook spent 35, but that's because he had that slight mistake on pit entry, which would have slowed him down just a little bit. So I think Josh Chin may have just lost his chance at winning this race.
I think so too. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's just pretty much dream done. Now though we have another talking point. Matt Cook is not in a fuel safe situation. I don't think Matt can stretch the fuel. His teammate's half a second in front of him. Can Matt get the slipstream, and can he rob the quickest lap of the motor race from Randy Shoemake, who currently leads?
This could be the point that Matt Cook needs, because Josh Chenna's got no way of finishing second now, if you ask me. So Matt Cook, he needs to get up behind Randy Shoemake, get in the draft, get some clean air ahead of him, and really go for it, try and get this fastest lap of the race. He only needs to improve his time by 1/10 of a second, but 1/10 of a second around here is going to be a lot of work, especially 155 laps into a motor race on tyres which are 15 laps old, on tanks of fuel which are just emptying now. And as the track temperature is pretty stabilised, it hasn't changed since the start of the race here, Randy. It's going to be a tall order for Matt Cook, but now is the chance that he needs to go and get this fastest lap.
Yeah, you're right. This is the opportunity he needs. The problem is, though, that the times that it's not been in the car for a long time. I mean, we saw him, he did that 25.5 early in the race, but it seems to be only a small window you have that in the tires. You look at the laps he's been doing. It's been all mid to high 20, well, high 25 to even low 26s. I don't know if he has that speed in the car. It might have to be something that he does really late in the race here.
And actually, I think I'd agree with you, because Randy Shoemake is setting the same lap time, so whether the time has gone out of the track, we will have to wait and see. Lucas Seville had the fastest lap of the race last time around, did a 25.7. So actually, I think the time is starting to fall out of the track, and it's starting to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely seems like the situation. I don't think it's the track necessarily that's slowing down. I just think that you probably have a couple really fast laps in the early phase of the window, and then it sort of tapers off a couple of tenths really quickly, because we've seen that from everyone. I'll take a look at Randy Shoemake as well. And when he did his fastest lap of the race, I bet you, and yes, that's exactly what it was. It was the second lap of the stint. It was on a restart after lap 43. Lap 44 was the getting up to speed lap when they first saw the green flag. Does a 27.567. Then he did his fastest lap of the race, the fastest lap of the race, of a 25.476. And then immediately the time started slowing down back to back to back. 5.79, 6.63, 7.92. And then it stabilized around that 0.7 to 0.8 window. So for Matt Cook, we know he's likely going to have to come down pit road again. Come down, get tires, likely take fuel. Actually, maybe not even take tires, because of course the situation, and as close as they are, I don't think it's out of the question that the likes of Shoemake and Cook come down pit road and take a fuel-only stop.
Well, they're only going to have a few laps to go until the end of the race, so I can see them coming down onto pit road and taking a fuel-only stop, and it just being 3 or 4 seconds and a very fast splash and dash, and I think that is going to be what they do. There's no point taking tyres when you've got 4 laps to go in a race, when you know that they can do 60 laps, 65 laps, because it's already been proven, as Lucas Laville and Robert Grosser, the P number 4, they look to be a line astern.
Yeah, they're lined up, a couple of teammates. You also see another Vortex car in that little group. That's Jan Hoffman. He's 2 laps down. He's just going to sit there and chill in all likelihood. As they're going to work through 3 and 4, they'll see 39 laps to go this time.
39 laps indeed. We're now in the last sort of 33% of the race, as the checkered flag is going to be beckoning for these drivers. If they've got squabbles, they need to get them settled soon, because I promise you that in the next 20 minutes or so, this race will be done and dusted, as long as it stays green. We've been green for over 100 laps now, Randy.
Yeah, we have. I mean, this is the thing about the Classic IndyCar series, and it seems like every single oval race we get a bunch of cautions early, and then once we get 5, 6, 7 cars that have dropped out of the race early for whatever reason, be it over aggression or mistakes on restarts or Jamie Wilson's CPU dying, we just eventually hit that window after 3 or 4 cautions that we're just green to the end.
And it's those few teething problems at the start of the race. We've had this before, actually. We've had a few races where it's been a bit scrappy at the start, everyone getting settled down, and then we'll have that final caution, bang, everyone goes to the end. It's like 150 laps of green flag racing. We've seen it before on some circuits. We're seeing it again here at Homestead Miami. This year's Homestead Miami race, of course, a little bit different to last year's. Last year's one, I think, is a race that can be forgotten by everyone who took part. I can't remember the exact caution count, Randy, but I'm pretty sure it was more than 15.
Yeah, it's not a great number for sure. But yeah, we've had, what, I think 4 yellows today, and they all happened in the...
4 or 5, and it all happened in the opening, like, 40 laps or something.
Right. So, yeah, it's been relatively decent on caution, especially because they all stacked themselves up early. It's been, you know, like you said, we've been 120, 130 laps of that one now.
Just as we're talking about it, one happens, and you'll never guess who's caused it. It's Josh Chin.
F.
So coming out of turn 4, because turn 4 strikes again apparently, there was a little bit of contact between himself running on board. You'll see a car come across. It's one of the RX cars. I believe that was Andrew Aiken, the car running in third. A very small bit of contact, just lost the rear end. Josh Chin had nowhere he could go because he wasn't going to be able to preempt that. But because he was keeping it running, and he was trying to get back up to speed, Randy, so the initial spin wasn't the one that caused the caution. The spin that caused the caution was the one where he came back onto the track, the rear car unsettled, and he went round again.
Yeah, so the 27 of Andrew Aiken just sort of cut across the nose. We're going to see what exactly happened to Josh here. And you're right, he was just trying to get that car back up to speed, and that's what actually caused the yellow. But what in the world happened to Andrew here coming off of turn 4? Because it's almost like Andrew, I don't know if he tried to block Josh down on the bottom. I don't know if that's what he was trying to do or if he just got loose. We're going to ride on board and we're going to see. It'll be the next lap. But you're going to see here in about 1 lap's time, we're going to ride on board. You can see he's just going to push up the racetrack, and he's just going to, I just want to see, does that car step out on him or not? You see that 93 off this rear end shot, just closing in on him through 3 and 4. So what's going to happen? Going to drop all the way to the bottom, comes up off the banking. Maybe a slight wiggle, but it's hard to tell even on that angle.
I'm pretty sure I saw a wiggle, but it's very hard to
Yeah, he was loose.
Yeah, he was loose. You can just see it on the onboard camera. Very, very loose indeed. He was a good save, but it wasn't quite fast enough. The pit stops are underway. We've seen everyone, by the looks of things, come down onto the pit lane and rejoin the racing surface now, Randy. Matt Cook still regaining that race lead, but everyone else behind who was close on fuel seems to have pitted. Matt Cook now in the window. Actually, Matt Cook's pitting, so this is going to cycle him right back to the back of the field.
Well, everyone should be coming down pit road because no one else could make it on fuel. Right, Shirley?
Yeah, there's a lot of cars now coming down onto pit road. We've already had 1 round of pit stops. This is obviously the second time round for these guys for pit stops, as we see Matt Cook, Josh Baird, Andre Delino's come down. I expect Yoni Kainen to come down as well. Josh Chin isn't going to get his lap back, but Josh Chin is on pit road, so he's definitely not going to get his lap back.
Yeah, so are you sure that these guys have come down pit road previously?
Yeah, because I'm showing Randy Shoemake, Andrew Aitken, Lucas LaVille, and Robert Grosser as pitting last time around. Yeah.
Did they stop? Yes, they did. Okay, so I have no idea what's going on. Wait, is Matt coming down now, getting new tires, and cycling himself to the back so he has draft and can fight for that fastest lap of the race?
Well, according to my timing screens, because everyone's lapped down, Matt Cook's only gone down to 5th. He's at the back of the field, but he's only down to 5th. So this could be the opportunity where Matt Cook actually he gets a little bit of fuel, doesn't need a full tank, just needs a little bit of a drop of fuel, 4 new brand new Firestone tyres, and he can go out and challenge for that fastest lap. However, everyone ahead of him, by the looks of things, is all a lap down. So this could get pretty interesting. We're going to step aside very quickly here on RaceSpot TV and the iRacing eSports Network. We'll be back for the final run to the green flag. Don't go anywhere.
So quick stop here as lights are out on the iRacing safety car. And as they drop off of turn 4, it's going to be Randy Shoemake and Andrew Aiken. And I'm not sure what in the world the 27 and the 4 were doing there as they came to green. But off of turn 4, they were side by side. Andrew Aiken is dropping back for reasons I don't understand. But he cycles back behind his teammates. Not sure what the deal was, but this is going to be the person we want to watch right here is Matt Cook. We know that he has to put in the quickest lap of the race here to have an opportunity to wrap up the championship here. He needs all of the bonus points, and, well, it's the start of the lap, and Matt Cook doesn't have much of a slipstream to work with.
Running on board with the number 6 machine, and Matt Cook, and it looks to be that his slipstream doesn't quite look to be enough. He's sat behind Randy Shoemake, the current driver with the fastest lap of the race, and now it's crunch time. He's got to make this work. Robert Grusser right on the back of Matt Cook. Could this be the opportunity for Robert Grusser and Lucas Seville? Fastest lap of the race has been set, but it's not by Matt Cook. It's by Josh Baird in the number 23.
Time to see, is there another window here? We'll keep the sectors up. The car that sits in 6th place, who's 1 lap down, has taken fastest lap honors, and it's actually made the mark much quicker for Matt Cook. Can he hit a quicker time? Answer is going to be no. Tires have gone away. That might have been the only opportunity the 6 had.
And that could be the difference between Matt Cook winning this championship or not. That 1 lap there where Josh Baird was able to get the fastest lap. He was sat on the back of a 4-car train, able to really just almost, he was in the right place at the right time. He's sat between 3rd and 4th at the moment, 1 lap down. Matt Cook is closing up. He set the fastest lap time last time around, but already Josh Baird, he's dropped a 10th and a half off of his fastest lap time. The tyres have gone. The window has gone. I think the chance has also gone.
Thing is, though, is that he's going to definitely be the championship favorite regardless. He's all over his teammate, the 4 of Randy Shoemake, going to practically push him into 1 and 2. And side by side behind is going to be Robert Grosser, I believe it is, with Joshua Baird. Josh is a lap down, so that is not a fight for position, but Josh, acting like it is only our top 5 who are on the lead lap. The 27 of Andrew Aiken, I still am not sure what happened to him. He did something really weird off the restart, was side by side with his teammate, and then he immediately dropped all the way to the back of the lead lap cars and just continues to go forward. So not sure what's happening to the 27 of Andrew Aiken, but side by side for the race lead is Matt Cook and Shoemake.
Matt Cook was leading as they came across the line, but only by 0.02 of a second. Side by side into number 3, they will go at Randy Shoemake holding that inside line. Matt Cook not going to put up a defence, but he's going to go inside off the exit of the corner. He's got a better run. He's looking for a space where there isn't one. He's got to force it open against his teammate. He's going really onto touchy ground now, but he's made a mistake. Look for the number 23 coming through. He wants his lap back to try and start making up positions on these guys. He clearly has the speed. All of a sudden does the 23. He wants that lap back, and all of a sudden he might open an opportunity for Matt Cook to try and slip through on the inside on his teammate to regain that race lead.
Josh Baird has to be very careful here. He's definitely the quickest of this group, or so it seems, but he needs to make this gap up very, very shortly. If I'm Josh Baird right now, I give myself a 5-lap window. If I'm not past this group in 5 laps, I back off, because you do not want to be the lap car who gets into it in the last 20 laps with the cars trying to fight for the race win and potentially affecting the championship map. Very tight to the wall off of turn 4 there. I don't think he tagged it, but he was right up against it. Through 1 and 2 once again, and Matt is nearly clear of that 23 car of Joshua Baird. I think the window's gone, and Josh is going to settle 3rd in line at the moment, as we're going to have 20 laps to go this time.
Now, Josh Baird, it's interesting to know he's going to be getting blue flags, and blue flags in this series are mandatory. If you cannot keep up the speed, you have to get out of the way. However, this is slightly different. The 23 is keeping up the speed. The inside line has been open for Matt Cook, and he's through, but watch out for the 23 trying to make it 3 wide. So you got the battle for first position plus a lapped car getting involved in this one. The inside line is going to go to Matt Cook. Not much more Randy Shoemake can do, but he's going to the inside now. Clearly there's no team orders in order here, Randy, because AeroX are going at it. Teammate versus teammate for the race win.
Yeah, the team orders of be nice to each other don't even seem to be in effect here as they work off the corner and down the back straightaway once again. Shoemake not able to keep up. You are right about Joshua Baird. He is keeping pace with this group, but at the same time, he is affecting that car in third and fourth place. So the decision from race control is going to be interesting. Yeah, Joshua Baird technically might have every right in the world to keep himself fighting for the lead lap, but he's affecting all the leaders here, and he's just getting involved in this. He's going to get second in line here after getting by Randy Shoemake, but the question is going to be is, can he get clear of Matt Cook?
And he is clear of Randy Shoemake, as you say. He's slotted in between position 1 and position 2 as Caleb Weakley's got himself past Josh Chin for the 7th position, but now Josh Baird, he's got to put the pressure on to the driver of Matt Cook to get through. He's got the inside line. Surely Matt Cook, it would be sensible just to give up on just a little bit of top speed, let Josh go and sit in his draft, but clearly not. He's going to get the outside line into turn 3. Don't turn down there, Matt, because you'll end up in that outside safer barrier, and all of a sudden we're looking at a battle for position 1 on a lapped car. Not quite sure this has ever happened before in this series.
I actually disagree with you. I like Matt fighting with the 23 of Josh Baird right here. It keeps a buffer back to a second place car, be it a teammate at the moment, but you have the likes of Grosser and LaVille who are not far off the back. So I think him not letting that lap car and that lap traffic through is somewhat a wise call, especially if he can maybe suck Joshua up to him and with him for a couple laps here, open up a gap. Then he can maybe let Josh by and be at no risk of losing that race lead with Randy Shoemake maybe trying to make a move if that were to occur. But if I'm Matt Cook, I'd probably try to keep Josh in the rear view. Here goes Josh Baird once again, down the back straightaway in towards 3 and 4. Going to be working the bottom, and I don't think the move's going to be on. The top side has been where you want to be, and Josh is going to pull nearly alongside even, but the momentum up top going to heavily favor that number 6.
And with 14 laps to go here at Homestead Miami Speedway, the clock is starting to count down on this round. The Iconic Graphics Indy 300 as Josh Jenner has got himself back past Caleb Weakley for 7th position, but we're going to keep our eyes on this. Not particularly battle for the lead, but battle up at the front of the field. Josh Baird almost clear of Matt Cook, and he seems to have finally done it. It's taken a few laps, but Matt Cook all of a sudden back down to the inside, and he's going to be fighting for every possible position on track. But all of a sudden now Randy Shoemake's got a slight mistake, and Robert Grosser straight down the inside to try an advantage from it.
Yeah, things definitely heating up here. Second, third, and fourth tight as well. You see Matt Cook still fighting with this lapper as they're approaching. Going to be 12 laps to go here.
12 laps to go indeed. Line astern as they go. Josh Baird now at the front of the field, back on the lead lap, but only just. I think now it is all about going to be preserving those positions for everyone in the top 4. For Robert Grosser, he wants the second position. He can see the win. So can Lucas LaVille. They're going to so want that numbered second trip to victory lane for the Logykal Vortex Sim Racing team as they head themselves into turn 1 and 2 for the 190th time at the line. Randy, we've got 10 to go.
So yeah, 10 laps to go coming up here, and you see all 5 of these cars involved with this in the shot. Now for Joshua Baird, he's got the lead lap back, but only just. So if there's a late race caution, he will restart with this group, and that is something to think about. But the group now is gapped out P1 to P2. So Shoemake, Grosser, LaVille, the fight is for second. Matt Cook now having some drafting help from Joshua Baird. It's going to be a big ask for the likes of Shoemake, Grosser, LaVille to retrack down the 6 of Matt Cook.
And Matt Cook really now has to watch what he's doing. 9 to go at the line. If we stay green, this is going to be done in 4.5 minutes. He's tucked up behind Josh Baird. His lap times are fast. Josh Baird's are slightly faster, but they're not good enough for the fastest lap of the race. And all of a sudden, the championship is slipping further out of the reach of Matt Cook. However, if he doesn't wrap up here, when we go to Laguna Seca for the next round, it is going to be even easier for him to wrap up that championship before that double points race at Indy. Down to the inside, he will go with 9 to go. 8 to go now as Josh Baird still trying to defend the track position. And it's going to be 3 wide off the corner because Johnny Garrett looks to be on the outside. I believe that's Johnny Garrett. And of course it's not because he's out of the race. That looks to be the number 75 of Logan Simmons running 3 laps down at the back of the field there, Andy.
This is going to stretch out that second group as well. It means they're all going to go single file through 3 and 4, and you see that third place running car of Robert Grosser. Evasive action gets all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack, and that costs him a little bit of speed. Lucas Seville nearly gets alongside his teammate in that fight for third. Down the back straightaway once again, and Matt Cook still tucked just ahead of that lap traffic of Joshua Baird. So Josh now loses his lead lap status.
And all of a sudden back to 1 lap down. However, it's not going to be much of a difference for himself during the race. The closing stages, 6 to go at the line. The pressure's still on for Randy Shoemake from Robert Grosser. Shoemake's had a bad run through turns number 1 and 2. Down to the inside, the German will go, the 3-time champion. All of a sudden, going to be into second position in the motor race. But Randy Shoemaker better run off the corner and into turn number 3. And he has got the slightly better run off the corner through 4. Here comes Lucas Seville as well. He's looking to try and make an advantage of this one. 5 to go at the line, Randy. This is getting super exciting.
Yeah, things are so tight here as right now Randy Shoemake trying to keep that 1-2 for Aero X. Andrew Aiken had good speed. Still not sure what exactly happened to him, but fight for second still on. Here comes Robert Grosser up the inside of Randy Shoemake, but the bottom line just has not had the speed all night. We got cars around the 27 of Andrew Aiken, matter of fact, who we just mentioned. Big incident, looks like off of turn 4, and he's going to spin it down to the inside, and that's going to bring out a yellow.
That's going to bring out a yellow with 3 to go at the line, and I have a feeling that means this race will finish under caution. There is no way we're going to go back to green flag racing before the checkered flag flies. That means Matt Cook is going to win this motor race, but he will not win the championship here today as far as I am aware.
So let's see what happens to Andrew Aiken. What is this second? I almost think out of frustration, he almost just intentionally he spins the car down onto the road course. I don't know why that triggered a caution. It's normally...
That did it earlier.
No, it didn't. No, it did it down here. We were green when he was working down the front straightaway. The caution, I think, flew when he was down here. I don't know if that's technically considered part of the racetrack still in the sim because of the road course that's down there. I honestly have no idea. That is turn 1 and the drop off the banking of the road course. So I'm not sure what exactly happened there or why it happened, but I think out of frustration, Andrew intentionally spun the car down there. I think that was a thing. But go ahead.
We did get a caution. One of the last cautions we had, a driver did spin. I can't remember who the driver was off the top of my head, but they did spin in the same place, or the car came to the stop in the same place. I have a feeling it may have been Johnny Garrett, and we got a caution because of it. And I was mystified then, and it's happened again. So clearly, that part of the circuit still classed as the racing surface. Of course, when Josh Chin spun, he was off the racing surface, so we didn't get, when he spun onto pit lane, we didn't get a caution because of that. That's a very interesting place to cause a caution, and it has meant that all of a sudden everything's come to a very sudden stop, and we aren't going to go back to racing before the checkered flag.
Yep, we're already at 2 to go here, and it's going to be white flag for these guys next time, and, well, it's going to be a big day for Matt Cook. I think there's going to be some weird mathematical way that somehow Joshua Chin technically stays in the championship, but I'm pretty sure that that includes Matt Cook not showing up to the final couple of races, which we all know is not going to happen. So for Matt Cook, I mean, it is even though mathematically there might be some way it could happen, as far as I'm concerned, this is championship 1 today for Matt Cook.
I don't think, even if there is a mathematical way of Josh Chin coming back from this one, there isn't a logical way that Josh Chin can come back from this. So Matt Cook today has won the championship. Josh Chin will, however, finish down in 6th position, but I'm not sure whether, even with the drop weeks factored in, it's going to be enough. I will make sure that after the race has concluded in probably about a minute and 20 seconds time, I'm going to have a conversation with the league organisers, see if they can just show any more light on it. The fact that Josh is down in 6th and Matt has won this one. He's also got the extra points for laps led and the extra point for pole position. Hasn't got the one for fastest lap. It is going to mean that it's going to be close, I think, if he does win the championship today, and possible, but it's going to be a very interesting one. Don't forget as well, the spins that Josh Chin has had will probably also come with penalties and point penalties as well.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing. But regardless, it's going to be white flag for this man right here of Matt Cook. And barring any sort of crazy hardware failure or technical difficulties here, Matt Cook's going to win another one here at Homestead.
And well, as the pacing line comes through turn number 4, Matt Cook is going to cross the line to win the Iconics Graphics Indy 300. And the checkered flag will fly as they come underneath the starting gantry for the 200th time. Matt Cook, the winner of the Iconics Graphics Indy 300 from Homestead, Miami, for the third to last round of the 2019 Logykal Classic Indycar Series. Everyone is now across the line. We can take you through your final finishing positions. In a very intense final 20 laps, Matt Cook is going to win here at Homestead, Miami. Randy Shoemake, his teammate, for his best finish of the year, going to be coming home in second. Mr. Three-time Robert Grosser in third, and Lucas Seville in fourth. Josh Baird eventually finishing in fifth. Josh Chin not having a great day, finishing down in sixth. Caleb Weekly is going to be finishing in seventh. Yoni Kyle in eighth. Andre Delino in ninth, and Andrew Adair Saunders is going to be rounding out the top 10. Hans Picklen, Jan Hoffman, Jonathan Diggs, Mike Gerlicher, Andrew Aiken, and Logan Simmons complete the 16-car field that finished the race. Francesco Sturm, Daniel Schoolmeister, Johnny Garrett, Carson Brodby, Nate Michael, Jay Wilson, and Sasha Lamp are going to be our non-finishers, with Zachary Sahar and Tristan Hauser are non-starters here today. We're going to step aside for just a few moments here on Racebot TV and the iRacing Esports Network. We're going to be back with all of the post-race action from Homestead, Miami. You're not going to want to miss this one, because it's going to be big. I said at the very top of the broadcast, today was the day where dreams could be made. And they have indeed. Matt Cook is your 2019 Logykal Classic IndyCar Series champion, and we're going to catch up with him now. Congratulations, Matt. You are the 2019 champion. How does it feel?
Definitely feels pretty awesome. Glad all the hard work's paying off here. Unfortunately, didn't work out today for Josh to stay in the running there, but honestly, it was a great season. There's been a lot of improvement all around, a ton of new drivers that are really making things a lot more competitive, so it feels pretty good to win that.
Well, obviously the race today, a very long one because of the cautions towards the start of the race. Were you a bit worried at one point with the fuel and the strategy? There was at one point where it was close to maybe Josh could win this one.
Definitely. We kind of missed seeing which lap we were on there, and more or less didn't realize we could have cut out one of the stops had we pitted. So we were definitely, conscious of it and praying that we could either save just a tiny bit over the course of the run, which it's not really the track for it, but at the same time praying for a caution or something to just kind of reset that. So definitely an oversight on our part, but overall, I did have just enough fuel to make it to the end during that last stop, so we were okay. We would have made it.
Well, I was briefed at the start of or before we went live that you needed to get all the available bonus points to win today, and I don't think you quite did. But anyway, you've won the championship. 2020, you now need to go and defend that one. Is your aim now to try and beat Robert's record of 3 in a row?
Definitely would be a good goal to set. But I don't think there's many people that could beat Robert Grosser in terms of consecutive championships.
Well, Matt, obviously 2 more rounds left. We're going to go to Laguna Seca in 2 weeks' time and then Indianapolis to round out the championship. You can now relax, but of course you want to win those ones.
Absolutely. I will still be attending both of them and give it everything I have and treat each race as if it was still to win the championship.
And well, before we let you go and celebrate with your team, who would you like to give a shout out to today?
Definitely a shout out to AeroX. It's a great job. They put in a ton of work this week. And also a shout out to Robert and Lucas for doing a great job running the league and doing the overall administration for it. And as a final thing, great job to all the drivers out there overall this season. There's been tons of improvements.
Well, there's Matt Cook. He wins today here at Homestead, Miami. But more importantly, he is the 2019 Logykal Classic IndyCar Series. Randy, you're stood by with his teammate who finished second place today, Randy Shoemake.
Yes, I'm stood by with Mr. Randy Shoemake. And Randy, it was a great run for all of you guys at AeroX. Matt takes home the victory and wraps up the championship, and you guys come home second. You had Andrew Aitken running up with you as well. Can you shed any light on what happened to him on that final stop? Seemed like there was some issue that plagued him that just dropped him well down the order late.
No, I'm not sure. He talked about having an accident close to the end of the race, but I'm not sure of anything that happened in the pits with him.
And then for you guys, I mean, you guys have just been so good and so consistent on these ovals. What do you think it is you guys at AeroX have? It seems like every single week we head to one of these racetracks with only left turns, that there's a very good, very, very high likelihood that we're talking about all 3 of these AeroX cars inside of the top 4.
Yes, sir. Matt prepares us so well and just keeps pushing us and demands we get better and do a better job, so that there's just so often we can't assist him. We look and we try our best to improvements, but every now and then we'll come up with something. But he just keeps pushing us and he keeps us prepared, and we owe so much thanks to him.
And then coming up, we have the Indianapolis 500 as the finale for this championship. But before that, we head to what's going to be one of the most, probably I think the most difficult and intense road course of the season, heading out to Laguna Seca. Talk me and tell me about some of the intricacies and difficulties of dealing with that racetrack, because that's going to be a big ask, and of course very difficult for all of you guys streaming around there. For I think the race distance is, if I recall correctly, 83 laps is what you're going to be going. That's a long ways to go around probably what's going to be the most difficult road course of the season.
It is, and I'm looking forward to it. I like the track. Don't always perform well there, but it seems like every time you push a little bit to try and make up something, that's when you create your mistake. So better to drive safe, finish the race, and we're going to do the best we can.
Well done, Randy, and congrats on another strong second-place finish. Before we let you go, who gets it done for everyone at AeroX?
Obviously, Matt takes care of us. Andrew did a lot of testing this week and helped us out and got us prepared, and you saw that he deserved to be on the podium. I want to thank my wife, 33 years on Friday. My dad's, I've got a lucky man. I've got two dads. One's having a birthday today. The other one is watching and very supportive. My birthday is Tuesday. I'll be 60. So we've had a great weekend of activities. And I want to say a special hello out to our granddaughter and Stephanie and Clark for all they do for us and doing so much to help my wife yesterday. They threw a wonderful surprise party, and it was just fantastic.
So there he is, Mr. Randy Shoemake. Big weekend for him, and comes home with a strong second-place finish here at the end of the season. Last interview of the night, we're going to go to the third-place finisher here, Robert Grosser, who in the 3-car finishes third. And, well, it's going to be Mr. Jack Stiles stood by with him.
Well, first of all, happy birthday to you, Randy, and of course to all of your family celebrating their birthdays this weekend. And Robert, congratulations on finishing third here today. It looked as though it could be close towards the end. You and Lucas were looking towards the front of the field, just not quite able to get there.
Yeah, it was close in the end, and I was really hoping that I can make maybe another move on Randy. It was not meant to be. He was defending very nicely also, so yeah, considering the qualifying, I don't know, 7, 8 something, I am very happy with the podium, that's for sure.
And well, obviously, now you've got a bit of competition going into the future years of the Classic IndyCar Series, because I did mention this to Matt Cook a few minutes ago, and I think we've got someone who could possibly beat your record of 3 consecutive championships.
Oh, that is very possible, of course, yeah, absolutely, but I mean, he is really a very deserving champion. Congratulations, Matt, not only for winning the race, also winning the title. I think now this is the 7th win of the year, which is also another record in CIS. I mean, the whole CIS career of Matt Cook so far is something for the record books. So a very deserving champion, and that is really that really says it all. He is really the man this season.
And well, last 2 rounds of 2019, Laguna Seca, then the Indianapolis 500 to round it all off. What are your aims going into those last 2 races, not just for yourself, but for Logical Vortex Sim Racing?
I really hope that we can challenge AeroX for the team championship. We were quite close behind before this race, but now, of course, they did very good points with Matt and Randy finishing 1 and 2. So I hope we can do very well, at least at Laguna Seca as a team. And for myself, of course, yeah, I want to secure at least P3 in the standings, maybe P2, since Josh was not having the strongest race today, but that is more dreaming than anything else. I just want to finish the season really in a very decent way.
Well, Robert, before we go and release you back to your team, who would you like to give a shout out to today?
Yeah, of course, to my teammates, Lucas and Jan. Unfortunately, Tristan could not make it due to some software issues just before the start of the race. And then, of course, our sponsors, Logykal and Iconic Graphics for the title sponsorship for this race. And, of course, a big thanks to you guys, Jack and also Randy, for doing another very nice broadcast.
Oh, well, Robert Grosser coming home at 3rd today for Vortex Sim Racing. That is about all the time we are going to have here at Homestead, Miami for this round of the Logical Classic IndyCar Series. And of course, a massive shout out goes to our title sponsor for today, of course, Iconics Graphics, and as always, the Logical Innovative Engineering. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time, myself and Randy at Laguna Seca, for what is going to be an extremely exciting event. Just 2 rounds remaining in the 2019 season. We know our champion, and we know it's Matt Cook. But from now on, good night.